Blood streamed down Jaden's face, pooling on the first-class carpet of Apex Airlines Flight 512, as a security officer pinned him to the armrest, her knee digging into his back. My twin brother's cry of pain pierced my heart, and I, Amara Nelson, screamed, "Let him go," at Dallas, Fort Worth International Airport, where our dream trip to Stanford summer program had turned into a nightmare. At 17, we were black scholars, our first-class tickets a gift from our mother, Dr. Lena Nelson, whose secret role as Apex's new CEO was about to change everything. My hands shook, cuffed behind me, as passengers filmed, some with pity, others with sneers. I pressed my smartwatch's emergency alert, praying Mom would come. Just hours ago, Jaden and I had stood in our Dallas home, packing for Stanford with a buzz of hope. I tucked my poetry notebook into my backpack, scribbling a line, June 2025, skies await. We rise. Jaden, sketching a mural design in his sketchbook, grinned, his dreadlocks swaying. "Think Stanford's ready for my art?" he teased, his dreamer's spirit lighting up the room. Mom, a 5 feet 10 inches powerhouse who'd raised us alone since Dad's heart attack when we were 9, called us to dinner. "Last meal before my stars shine at Stanford," she said, serving gumbo. Her pride warmed me, but her serious tone cut through. "Travel smart. Keep IDs close, stay calm, call me if trouble hits." We nodded, knowing the talk, how to navigate a world that judged our skin before our souls. "Mom's tickets," she said, "were a treat for our perfect GPAs and debate trophies," but I sensed something bigger in her smile, like she held a secret. At DFW, the terminal's hum felt hostile. A white businessman stared as I adjusted my scarf, my poet's heart noting his gaze in verse, eyes like knives, cutting worth. The gate agent waved us through with a smile, but trouble brewed as we boarded. Victor Grayson, a flight attendant in his 40s, lean with a scowl, stopped us. His badge read 20 years, but his eyes screamed resentment. "Economy's that way," he said, dismissing our 2C and 2D tickets. I met his stare, voice steady. "We're first class, sir." Victor's smirk twisted, he'd been passed over for promotions, I'd later learn, blaming diversity hires for his stalled career. His prejudice wasn't random, it was personal. Jaden showed his sketchbook, hoping to ease the vibe. "Our mom got us these seats." But Victor demanded IDs, skipping the white couple in 1A. Elaine Carver, a tech CEO in a silk blouse, muttered, "First class isn't for kids like them." Her words burned, and I wrote them in my mind, my poetry a shield. Victor returned, claiming our tickets were invalid. "First class is booked," he lied, though empty seats mocked him. I held up our passes. "These are ours, paid for." Jaden added, "Check the system." But Victor's eyes gleamed with intent. He'd tampered with our reservations, I'd soon discover, driven by a grudge against black success. "You're disrupting the flight," he snapped, signaling security. My pulse raced, Mom's warnings echoed, "Stay calm, but don't bow." Passengers stared, some filming, others whispering. Elaine leaned forward, "They're delaying us all." Her privilege dripped, and I wanted to scream, but Jaden's calm nod kept me focused. Officer Carla Ruiz, a stocky woman with a tight ponytail, arrived, her badge glinting. "Exit the plane," she ordered, ignoring our tickets. "We're not leaving," I said, my voice shaking but firm. "We belong here." Victor's lie grew bolder. "They snuck into first class." Carla grabbed Jaden's arm, and he pulled back, saying, "I'm just getting my pass." She slammed him against the armrest, splitting his eyebrow. Blood gushed, and I lunged forward, "You're hurting him." Another officer cuffed me, my scarf catching on the seat, tearing. "Stop resisting." Carla barked, though we hadn't. A white passenger, a young teacher, stood up. "This is wrong." They showed their tickets. Others nodded, starting a petition on a napkin, passing it seat to seat, my first glimpse of allies. But Elaine scoffed, they should have complied. My poetry swirled, blood on carpet, hearts on trial. Dragged to the jet bridge, I pressed my watch's alert, my wrist aching. In the security office, a cold room with a bolted table, they split us. I sat, cuffed, my notebook confiscated. Officer Leah Tate, stern-faced, slid fake economy tickets across. These are yours. Why lie? I shook my head, tears rising. Those aren't ours. Our mom bought first class. Call her. Leah smirked, no one's answering. I knew Victor had rigged this, his resentment a weapon. My mind raced to Mom, her strength, her secret. Jaden, next door, was bleeding, his sketches scattered. I imagined his thoughts, they see my dreads, not my art. Victor's hatred wasn't just bias, it was a vendetta, born from years of feeling sidelined, now aimed at us. The teacher's petition, I learned later, had 20 signatures, a spark of hope. My poetry anchored me, we're more than their lies. For Americans 25 to 55, this cuts deep, rage at injustice, fear for loved ones, hope in allies. I prayed Mom's alert would bring her, ready to shatter Victor's scheme. The cold metal cuffs bit into my wrists as I sat in the DFW airport security office, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and fury. My twin brother Jaden was in another room, his bloodied face haunting my thoughts, his sketchbook likely tossed aside by the officers who dragged us off Apex Airlines Flight 512. I, Amara Nelson, clung to the hope that my smartwatch's emergency alert had reached Mom, Dr. Lena Nelson, whose strength had always been our anchor. My poetry notebook was gone, confiscated by Officer Leah Tate, but I composed lines in my head to stay sane. Steel binds hands, but not our truth. The room's gray walls closed in, and Leah's voice droned, accusing us of stealing first-class seats we'd rightfully claimed. Your story doesn't add up, she said, her smirk mirroring Victor Grayson's, the flight attendant whose prejudice had sparked this nightmare. I repeated, our mom bought those tickets. Check the system, but Leah waved me off, sliding fake economy passes across the table. My mind raced, Victor's resentment, rooted in his stalled career, had twisted into a vendetta, and I sensed he'd rigged the system to erase our legitimacy. My scarf, torn in the struggle, lay crumpled on the floor, a symbol of the dignity they'd tried to strip from us. I thought of Jaden, his artist's soul bruised but unbroken, sketching even now in his mind to process the pain. He's drawing hope, I told myself, picturing his gentle lines capturing our fight. The teacher's petition from the plane, signed by 20 passengers, flickered in my memory, a spark of humanity amid the chaos. But Elaine Carver's sneer, they should have complied, echoed louder, her tech CEO privilege fueling Victor's crusade. I whispered a poem, voices rise, some cut, some heal. Then, a commotion outside jolted me upright. The door flew open, and there stood Mom, a 5 feet 10 inches force in a tailored blazer, her eyes blazing with a mother's love and a leader's fury. I choked back a sob, relief flooding me. Amara, she cried, rushing to me, her hands brushing my cuffed wrists as Leah stammered, Ma'am, this is a restricted. Mom cut her off, her voice like steel. I'm Dr. Lena Nelson, CEO of Apex Airlines. Uncuff my daughter now. Leah froze, her authority crumbling. Mom's presence filled the room, her years of advocating for black youth through her Wings Up program, mentoring kids in Dallas underserved schools, lending her a gravitas that silenced excuses. I'd always seen her as our rock, but now she was a titan, her secret CEO role unveiled in a moment of crisis. Where's Jaden? She demanded, and Leah pointed to the next room, her hands shaking. Mom stormed out, and I followed, my cuffs removed, rubbing my wrists as we entered Jaden's cell. He sat hunched, a bandage hastily taped over his 1-inch eyebrow gash, blood seeping through. Mom, he whispered, his voice cracking, and she knelt beside him, tears glistening in her eyes. I'm here, baby, she said, inspecting his wound with a doctor's precision. She'd earned her PhD in public health before rising in corporate ranks. "Who did this?" she asked, her tone lethal. Jayden pointed to Officer Carla Ruiz's name on a report. She slammed my head down. I saw Mom's jaw tighten, her mind already strategizing. She turned to Leah and Carla, who'd followed us. "Show me the security footage. Immediately." Her command brooked no argument, and we moved to a monitor room, where a nervous tech queued up the tapes. The grainy video played, and my stomach churned. Victor Grayson's scowl as he blocked our seats, Elaine Carver's smug nod, Carla's brutal shove, it was all there. But the kicker. Victor's fingers flying over a tablet before we boarded, downgrading our tickets to economy. He falsified the records, I gasped, my poet's heart naming it, truth buried, but not dead. Mom's eyes narrowed. This wasn't a mistake. It's sabotage. She demanded the passenger manifest, and Laura Vance, Apex's operations director, who'd arrived panting, pulled it up on her tablet. "Your tickets were first class, booked through the executive system," Laura confirmed, her face paling. Grayson overrode them at 7:50 a.m. Victor, I realized, hadn't just profiled us, he'd orchestrated a trap, his bitterness from years of being overlooked twisted into a weapon against two black teens who dared to soar. Mom's voice shook with controlled rage. "Victor Grayson is suspended, effective now. So is Officer Ruiz. And Elaine Carver is banned from Apex flights." Laura nodded, typing furiously, but Carla protested, "We followed protocol." Mom spun on her. "Protocol doesn't justify assaulting my son." She ordered medical care for Jayden, and a paramedic arrived, cleaning his wound with stitches, though he'd need a hospital follow-up. I squeezed Jayden's hand, his sketchbook returned to him, its pages creased but intact. He drew a faint line, a horizon, whispering, "We're still here." Mom's next words chilled me. "This isn't one man's bias. It's a system that lets him thrive. Apex is changing, starting today." I saw her vision. Not just justice for us, but a legacy for every traveler judged by their skin. Her wings up work had taught her systems could bend, and now, as CEO, she'd break them if needed. I scribbled in my mind, her love builds empires. But Victor's shadow loomed. Laura whispered to Mom, "Grayson's been filing grievances for years, claiming reverse discrimination. He's got allies in management." I pictured Victor's smirk, his belief that he'd outsmarted us, and my heart sank. He wasn't done. His vendetta was personal, and we were his targets. Elaine's roll gnawed at me too, her wealth insulated her, but her words had lit the fuse. The teacher's petition, now with 30 signatures, reached Laura's hands, and I felt a surge of hope, strangers were fighting for us. Mom hugged us both, her warmth a shield. "You're stronger than this," she said, but her eyes betrayed worry. Jayden's wound, my bruised wrists, our torn dignity, it wasn't just our pain, it was every black family's fear. My poetry surged, blood stains, but courage stands. As we left the security office, Mom's phone buzzed with a voicemail from the Apex board chair, demanding a crisis meeting. I knew she'd face pushback, but her resolve was iron. For Americans 25 to 55, this moment hits home, parents feel Lena's terror, professionals admire her authority, and all share the rage at a system that protects men like Victor. My heart raced, wondering if Mom's power could outmatch his schemes, as a passenger's video of Jayden's assault began trending online, threatening to ignite a fire we couldn't control. As I sat in our Dallas living room, the hum of the air conditioner barely drowned out the buzz of my phone, notifications piling up like storm clouds. Jayden, my twin brother, slumped beside me, his bandaged eyebrow a stark reminder of the brutality we'd faced on Apex Airlines Flight 512 at DFW Airport just yesterday. I, Amara Nelson, felt the weight of our trauma, but also a fire kindling within. Our story was no longer ours alone. A passenger's Instagram reel of Jaden's bloodied face, pinned by Officer Carla Ruiz, had exploded to 60 million views, the hashtag Apex Injustice trending nationwide. My poetry notebook, returned by security, lay open, and I scribbled, "Our pain lights the world." Mom, Dr. Lena Nelson, Apex's new CEO, paced in her home office, her 5 feet 10 inches frame tense as she fielded calls from board members and reporters. Her vow to reform the airline echoed in my mind, but the world's reaction was a tidal wave we hadn't expected. On X, voices clashed, some called us victims of racism, others labeled us troublemakers. A clip of Elaine Carver, the tech CEO who'd sneered we didn't belong in first class, went viral, her words, "They're delaying us all," sparking outrage. Victor Grayson, the flight attendant who'd falsified our tickets, became a shadow in every post, his 20-year grudge against diversity hires, now public. I learned from Mom's whispered call that Victor had a history of complaints, 5 minority passengers targeted in 2 years, all buried by his ally, board member Edward Klein. My poem surged, "His hate grows roots, but we'll uproot it." Jaden scrolled through X, his artist's eyes weary but sharp. "Look at this," he said, showing a post from a black pilot, profiled at LAX last week. Hashtag Apex Injustice hits home. Hundreds shared similar stories, Latinx families searched in Miami, Asian travelers questioned in Seattle. The Travelers for Equity campaign, born from that napkin petition on our flight, was growing, passengers posting videos with hashtag FlyingWhileBrown and hashtag FlyingWhileAsian. I felt a swell of pride, our pain was sparking truth. But hate surged too. Trolls sent slurs, one messaging me, "Stay out of first class, thief." Jaden sketched in his book, a silhouette of us cuffed, captioned, "Bound, but not broken." His art, like my poetry, was our fight. Mom entered, her face etched with exhaustion. "CNN wants an interview," she said. "They're calling it systemic racism in the skies." Jaden frowned. "What about Fox?" "They're saying we provoked it." I checked my phone, Breitbart's headline read, "Apex Security Overreach or Passenger Defiance." The split narrative stung. Our Stanford acceptance letters, dismissed as fake by Officer Leah Tate, were now debated online, skeptics questioning how black teens could really earn such honors. My heart ached, our excellence was always on trial. I wrote, "Doubt chains us, but we'll break free." We decided to speak out, not as victims, but as advocates. At a local community center Mom had funded through her Wings Up program, we set up a laptop to record a video. I wore my torn scarf, a badge of resilience, and Jaden's bandage gleamed under the lights. "I'm Amara," I began, my voice steady. "And I'm Jaden," he added, his sketchbook open. "We were assaulted for sitting in seats our mom, Apex's CEO, bought us. This isn't just our story, it's every traveler judged by their skin." I shared a poem I'd written that morning, "Blood on Carpet, Eyes on Screen / Truth Rises Where Hate Convenes." Jaden held up a sketch of our cuffed hands, saying, "Art heals, but justice builds." Posted on Instagram, the video hit 25 million views by midnight, shared by activists and artists. Comments poured in, "Your courage inspires," and "Stanford's lucky to have you." But Victor's shadow crept in. A local news clip showed him, teary-eyed, on a Dallas station, claiming, "I followed protocol. Apex is scapegoating me for doing my job." I gasped. His lie was calculated, leveraging his years of grievances to paint himself as a victim. Mom's aide, Laura Vance, confirmed he'd emailed supporters, rallying them to flood X with hashtag #SupportVictor, twisting the narrative. My poem darkened, his tears mask venom, truth his prey. Elaine Carver's company, meanwhile, faced a 10% stock dip as clients pulled contracts, her role in escalating our ordeal now public. A leaked email showed she'd texted Victor mid-flight, "Handle those kids fast." Her privilege, I realized, wasn't just passive, it was active, a match to his flame. Yet, hope flickered. The Travelers for Equity campaign launched a website, travelersforequity.org, where 2,000 stories were posted in 24 hours. A black nurse shared being followed in JFK's first-class lounge, a Muslim family described extra screening in Denver. I performed my poem at a Dallas vigil, 200 attendees chanting, "Equity now." Jaden's mural, painted on the community center wall, depicted wings breaking chains, drawing tears from strangers. Our pain was uniting people, and I felt Mom's pride in us, her "wings up" legacy alive in our fight. But the media storm grew wilder. MSNBC's segment, Flying While Black, featured our video, while Newsmax aired Victor's interview, framing us as entitled. My phone buzzed with threats, one saying, "You'll regret this, poet." Jaden's sketches grew fiercer, his latest a portrait of Victor's smirk. "He's not done," Jaden said, and I nodded, sensing Victor's next move. Laura rushed in, tablet in hand. "The board's panicking. They want a statement downplaying race." Mom shook her head. "We name it, racism, or we lose trust." She drafted a release admitting Apex's failures, promising reform, her CEO power a sword against denial. I wrote, "Her truth cuts through corporate fog." The vigil's energy lingered in me, but so did fear. Victor's allies, Laura warned, were digging into our family, hinting at dirt to discredit Mom's leadership. Elaine's silence worried me, she'd likely lawyer up, her wealth a shield. Yet, the teacher's petition, now online with 5,000 signatures, reached Apex's board, and Laura said it swayed them. I imagined the teacher, her courage a beacon, and felt grateful. Jaden and I planned a podcast, Skyward Voices, to amplify travelers' stories, our next step to keep the fire burning. My poem ended, "Screens glow, hearts ignite / we rise, we write, we fight." For Americans 25 to 55, this moment resonates, rage at polarized lies, pride in our defiance, hope in collective action. Victor's manipulation, Elaine's complicity, and our allies' courage deepen the stakes, urging readers to join the uprising, as our video's echo threatens to reshape the skies. The Dallas skyline loomed beyond the tinted windows of Apex Airlines headquarters, but I, Amara Nelson, felt trapped in a storm of my own making, my poetry notebook trembling in my hands as I sat in Mom's office, waiting for news from her boardroom battle. Jaden, my twin brother, sketched beside me, his bandaged eyebrow a silent testament to the racism we'd endured on Flight 512 at DFW Airport 3 days ago. Our viral video, now at 30 million views, had ignited a national reckoning, but the fight was far from over. Mom, Dr. Lena Nelson, Apex's new CEO, was pushing the Nelson Accord, a bold reform to root out bias with training, transparency, and oversight, against a board wary of change. My poem from last night's vigil pulsed in my mind, "Roots of hate run deep, but will carve new paths." The weight of our trauma, Jaden's blood, my torn scarf, fueled my resolve, but Victor Grayson's shadow loomed larger than ever. The flight attendant who'd falsified our tickets wasn't just a prejudiced man, he was a schemer, orchestrating a covert campaign to undermine Mom. Laura Vance, Mom's aide, had shown us leaked emails, Victor rallying former colleagues, claiming, Lena's using her kids to push a woke agenda. His 20-year grudge, born from missed promotions he blamed on black executives, now targeted our family. I wrote, "His venom spreads, but truth is our shield." Jaden's latest sketch, a shattered plane with wings mending, captured our hope, but his eyes betrayed fear. "What if the board shuts Mom down?" he whispered. I squeezed his hand, thinking of the Travelers for Equity website, now with 5,000 stories of discrimination. "They can't ignore the world watching," I said, but doubt gnawed at me. In the boardroom, Mom stood before 12 executives, 9 white men, 2 white women, 1 black man, her 5 feet 10 inches frame radiating authority. I wasn't there, but Laura relayed every word, her tablet glowing with notes. "Apex's stock is down 17%, Mom began, her voice steady. Cancellations are up 45%. We face lawsuits from 15 minority passengers with stories like my children's. The Nelson Accord isn't a choice, it's survival. Edward Klein, a board member with slick back hair and ties to Victor, scoffed. This admits systemic racism, inviting more legal trouble. His dismissal stung. Laura later revealed Klein had buried Victor's prior complaints, protecting his nephew's friend. Mom countered with data, 48 bias incidents in 2024, hushed with payouts. Denying this costs more than facing it, she said, projecting security footage of Victor's override and Carla Ruiz's assault on Jaden. My heart clenched, imagining Mom watching her son bleed again. I wrote, her pain fuels justice. The board shifted uncomfortably, but Klein doubled down. Your reforms are personal, Lena. Your kids caused a PR mess. Mom's eyes blazed. My kids were assaulted for being black in seats I paid for. This is about every passenger Apex failed. Laura's tablet showed the Nelson Accord's details: mandatory anti-bias training, demographic transparency, an independent oversight panel. A new initiative, the Equity in the Skies Summit, would invite airlines to Dallas to share reforms, positioning Apex as a leader. I marveled at Mom's vision. Her Wings Up program had mentored Dallas youth, now she'd mentor an industry. Jaden sketched a summit poster, wings soaring over a crowd, whispering, this could change everything. But Victor's influence crept in. A board member, swayed by his emails, questioned, won't this alienate loyal staff? Mom held firm. Loyalty doesn't excuse prejudice. Then, a bombshell, Laura uncovered a text from Klein to Victor, sent mid-flight, downgrade those kids' tickets. Teach them a lesson. The board gasped, Klein's face draining of color. You enabled racism, Mom accused, her voice ablade. Klein stammered, it was a misunderstanding, but Laura's evidence was ironclad. The board voted 10-2 for his resignation, Klein storming out, his career in tatters. I wrote, truth topples tyrants. The Nelson Accord passed with a 6-month timeline, and I felt a surge of hope, but Victor's allies weren't done. Online, #SupportVictor posts grew, painting him as a martyr. A Dallas radio host interviewed him, Victor claiming, I protected passengers from entitled teens. His lies twisted my gut, he'd targeted us to hurt Mom, knowing her CEO role was new. Elaine Carver, the tech CEO who'd fueled the conflict, stayed silent, but her company's stock fell 12%, and a whistleblower leaked her history of dismissing diversity complaints. Her complicity wasn't just words, it was a pattern. I organized a poetry workshop at the community center, teaching teens to write about bias, their verses echoing our pain, judged before I speak, my worth unseen. Jaden painted a mural for the summit, a sky of diverse faces, his art healing us both. The Accord's early results trickled in, passenger removals dropped 60%, racial disparities narrowing from 8:1 to 2:1. Apex announced a $1.8 million settlement from our lawsuit, which Mom funneled into a scholarship for minority STEM students, naming Jaden and me as advisors. I wrote, our scars seed futures. The summit, set for Dallas Convention Center, drew RSVPs from Delta and Southwest, but Victor's campaign escalated. He mailed anonymous flyers to Apex staff, accusing Mom of destroying jobs. Laura traced them to his address, and Mom filed a police report, her resolve unshaken. He won't stop us, she told us, but her eyes held worry. Carla Ruiz, suspended, apologized privately, admitting pressure from Victor, her arc shifting from villain to conflicted pawn. The teacher's petition, now at 10,000 signatures, reached Congress, sparking talks of aviation equity laws. I performed a new poem at the workshop. Wings clipped, yet we soar/truth opens every door. Jaden's mural unveiling drew 300 people, their applause a bomb. But fear lingered, Victor's next move was coming, and Elaine's silence hinted at a counterattack. Mom's boardroom victory felt fragile, her "wings up" legacy at stake. For Americans 25 to 55, this resonates: hope in reform, rage at resistance, pride in our art and advocacy. My poem ended. Change blooms where courage stands, but Victor's shadow warned of battles ahead, as our scholarship launch loomed, promising a legacy beyond our pain. The warm California breeze rustled the Stanford quad, where I, Amara Nelson, stood with my twin brother Jaden, our hearts lighter than they'd been 6 months ago when Apex Airlines Flight 512 turned our dreams into a battle against racism. At 18, we were no longer just black teens scarred by prejudice, we were changemakers, our story a spark that lit up the world. My poetry anthology, Skies Reclaimed, was stacked in my backpack, its verses forged in the pain of that DFW airport ordeal, now inspiring readers nationwide. Jaden's mural, a soaring collage of faces breaking free, graced Stanford's community center, earning him a fellowship. Our podcast, Skyward Voices, reached 250,000 listeners, sharing tales of travelers fighting bias. I scribbled in my notebook, "Wounds heal, legacies soar." Mom, Dr. Lena Nelson, Apex's CEO, was due at San Francisco International Airport to board a flight with us, a reclaiming of the skies we'd once feared. Her Nelson Accord had reshaped Apex, passenger removals down 72%, racial disparities at a historic 1.1:1, and the Equity in the Skies summit had rallied 30 airlines globally. Yet, Victor Grayson's venom lingered. On probation for civil rights violations, he'd pivoted to a podcast, Apex Exposed, accusing Mom of destroying tradition. His listeners, though few, included disgruntled Apex staff, and I sensed his hatred still burned, targeting our family's legacy. My poem murmured, "Darkness fades, but vigilance stays." At Stanford, we flourished. My data science project, tackling bias in airline algorithms, won a grant, while Jaden's performance art, weaving our trauma into hope, packed campus auditoriums. Therapy eased our airport anxieties, though security badges still tightened my chest. I launched a poetry mentorship for Black youth, their words fierce, my skin's not a crime. Jaden taught mural workshops, his students painting resilience. Our nonprofit, Skyward Justice, born from a $2.2 million Apex settlement, funded 100 scholarships and Skyward Truth, an app with 15,000 bias reports, fueling congressional hearings. I wrote, Pain Births Purpose. Mom's Senate testimony, broadcast on NBC, proved Equity's profitability, Apex's stock up 20%. Inspiring rivals like American Airlines. The summit, held in SFO's 700-seat hall, launched a youth-led aviation equity conference, where Jaden and I spoke to 200 teens, our story a blueprint for activism. Victor's podcast, though, spread lies, claiming Mom rigged our tickets. A hacked email revealed he'd pitched Elaine Carver, the tech CEO who'd fueled our assault, to fund an anti-reform campaign. Elaine, her company's stock down 18%, had stepped down, but her foundation now supported our scholarships, a reluctant amends. I felt conflicted, her remorse clashed with her past. Carla Ruiz, the officer who'd hurt Jaden, joined our Dallas mentorship program, her tearful letter admitting, Victor manipulated me. I'm rebuilding trust. Her redemption stirred hope, unlike Leah Tate's quiet exit from security work. I wrote, Hearts shift, some slow, some true. A youth conference panel brought us face to face with Elaine in a Stanford lecture hall. Jaden gripped his sketchbook, wary, but I said, let's listen. Elaine, in a simple blazer, spoke softly. I judged you by stereotypes. My daughter showed me your podcast. I'm learning. She donated $1 million to Skyward Justice, naming us co-chairs, and her Forbes essay, Unlearning Privilege, sparked corporate pledges. I replied, your words wounded us. Keep lifting others. Jaden shared a sketch of our flight, wings rising, saying, art demands truth. We didn't fully forgive, but the exchange mended a fracture. I wrote, bridges build, step by step. Victor faced sterner justice. His podcast's threats, traced to his IP, led to a year in jail, his platform silenced. Jaden's mural spread to 15 airports, a global emblem of equity. Our podcast featured Elaine, her vulnerability resonating with listeners. I read a poem at the youth conference. From blood to stars, we climb/justice shapes time. The 200 teens cheered, their energy a promise. At SFO, we boarded Apex's first class, Mom beside us, her smile fierce. The captain announced, the Nelsons transformed aviation for all. Passengers applauded, a balm to our DFW scars. I wore my mended scarf, Jaden sketched the clouds, and Mom said, "You're my wings." My anthology's dedication ran through me, to every traveler judged, fly free. Skyward truth as data passed a House bill, backed by 25 senators. Apex's profits soared 22%, proving equity's power. Victor's echo faded, but vigilance remained. My mentorship published a teen anthology, their voices raw. Jaden's airport art inspired a Smithsonian exhibit. Mom's, Wings Up, grew to 1,500 ments. I wrote, Hope Carves Skies. Reflecting on our journey, I see lessons etched in pain and triumph. Courage means standing firm, even when fear screams to shrink. Our refusal to leave those seats sparked change. Truth, documented through poetry and art, holds power. Our podcast and app turned whispers into roars. Allies, like that teacher's petition, amplify justice, but it starts with one voice. Systemic change demands persistence. Mom's Accord wasn't a fix, but a foundation. Most of all, pain can be purpose. Our scars built skyward justice, a legacy for kids like us. I'm not the girl cuffed in DFW anymore. I'm a poet, a fighter, a dreamer who knows no sky is too high. If you were in a similar situation, with elements like racial discrimination or the vulnerability of children, how would you approach it to achieve the best possible outcome? Would you speak out, document the truth, or build alliances to shift systems? Your choice could light a path for others, just as ours did. I ended my poem, We rise, unbroken, for all who soar, a vow to keep flying, no matter the storms.